Okay, so y'all are coloring your trumpets right now, and you're going to understand about these trumpets more in just a few minutes. Before we start though, I want to tell you a little bit about Gideon. So Gideon was just a man in Israel. He was a judge. There weren't kings yet, so Gideon was a judge. And one day, God tells Gideon, I want you to be a warrior, and I want you to destroy the Midianite people who are who hate on Israel. So Gideon, what do you think Gideon says? Do you think he says, okay?
Oh, he says, yes, God, or something.
No. He says, God, I can't do that. He's like, I can't do it. I'm not a fighter. I can't do it. So God says, Gideon, I promise you're going to be okay, and you will be able to fight those Midianites. And Gideon says, well, if you say that, you're going to have to show me a sign. So God showed him several signs, and Gideon said, okay, well, I'm going to do it. So Gideon asked for several signs, and then this happens, okay? Listen as you color. When Gideon heard, so Gideon overhears these two people talking about a dream that they had, okay? Now listen to the dream. When Gideon heard the dream and its interpretation, he bowed in worship before the Lord. Then he returned to the Israelite camp and shouted, "Get up, for the Lord has given you victory over the Midianites." He divided 300 men into 3 groups and gave each man, listen to what he gave them, a ram's horn. So this is your ram's horn, okay? And a clay jar. Listen. And a clay jar with a torch in it. Okay, look here. Look here. This is what he gave each man. A jar with a torch in it. We're going to pretend like this is our torch. And then he also gave him this ram's horn. Okay? So what does a ram's horn do? What do you think? Exactly. That's exactly what it does. Okay, so I'm going to let y'all get loud in just a minute. Let's finish the story, okay? So he gave each man a ram's horn and a clay jar with a torch in it. Then he said to them, "Keep your eyes on me. When I come to the edge of the camp, do just as I do. As soon as I and those with me blow the ram's horns, blow your horns too, all around the entire camp, and shout." Okay, this is what I want y'all to shout in a few minutes. Are you ready? Mm-hmm. You listening?
Yeah.
So, whenever we blow our horns, you blow yours, and you also shout, "For the Lord and for Gideon." Say it real quick.
For the Lord and for Gideon.
Good job. So, it was just after midnight, after the changing of the guard, when Gideon and the 100 men with him reached the edge of the Midianite camp. Suddenly, they blew the ram's horns and broke their clay jars. What did they do to their clay jars?
Broke them.
They broke them.
Why?
So, because this is why. So, the Midianite army had how many people in it? A bunch of people. Way more than 300 people in the army, okay?
Wow.
Well, 300 people in an army is not very many. So, they made loud noises like this. And they broke their clay jars. And they blew those horns so it would sound like many, 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 many men were coming. Okay? So why did they break them all?
Because it sounded like many men were
That's
there.
right. So it sounded like there was a bigger army coming, more than just 300 men. So they could scare the Midianites. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So they blew their horns and broke their jars. They held the blazing torches in their left hands and the horns in their right hands, and they all shouted, "A sword for the Lord and for Gideon." Each man stood at his position around the camp and watched as all the Midianites rushed around in panic, shouting as they ran to escape. When the 300 Israelites blew their ram's horns, the Lord caused the warriors in the camp to fight against each other with their swords. Those who were not killed fled to places as far as Ben Shita near Zerah and to the border of Abel near Tabath. Then Gideon sent for the warriors of others who joined in chasing the army of Midian. So So,
For the God and Gideon.
that's exactly right. So, they made such a racket, they made so much noise that the Midianites started to panic and they freaked out and they didn't know what they were going to do, right? So, whenever that happened, they started fighting against each other. And then they fled, and Gideon and his army chased them down, and they were able to overtake the Midianites. Okay? So, can I see your trumpets real quick?
I'm almost done.
Okay. Whenever you're done, I want you to listen to this too. So, Gideon didn't think that he was able to defeat those Midianites. He didn't think that he had what it took. But what did God show him? What did God show Gideon?
Faith.
He told him to have faith in him. Why?
To fight the soldiers.
Yeah, to fight the
To
Midianites.
fight the Midianites.
That's exactly right. And he also gave them a good plan. And God gives us courage. He helps us to be fighters whenever we feel like things are going wrong. He tells us to stay strong and trust in God, right? Okay, so this is what we're going to do. Harper, can you finish coloring that in just a minute? Let's act out what happened, okay? So,
I'm done.
good. Ready, Harper?
Gideon.
So what are y'all going to say in a minute?
For God and Gideon.
For God and for Gideon. Ready? Okay, so, okay, and then after you say it, you're going to get really loud, okay, and make lots of noise, okay? It won't. Okay, so on the count of 3, you're going to shout, for God and for Gideon, and then you're going to make loud noises with your pictures, okay? Okay, ready? Go!
For God and for Gideon!
And so you make really loud noises. Good job, and pick up your torch over there, okay? And now those Midianites are freaking out, and they're fighting each other, and then they run away. And Gideon is able to overtake Midian. So, in just a few minutes, we're going to watch a VeggieTales video about Gideon and the Midianites, okay?
For God and for Gideon!
Woo! God and for Gideon. God gave Gideon strength, and Gideon just trusted in God, and he had faith, just like we need to during this trying time. Good job, y'all.